Okay, hi guys. This tutorial I'm going to show you how to make an activity update itself. So update the UI in an Android project for an Android activity. What we're doing first is creating that Android project. UI updates test will be the name for my project. I'm leaving the default package name. The SDK doesn't matter. I'm not doing the fancy stuff. No need for that. There's the project. It's generated. This is our activity. What I'm gonna do to show you this is working, we're gonna build a counter here. This will increment every second. In order to access it, I'll have to give it an ID. The way you do that in Android is add plus ID slash the name. This adds a reference within the generated R file. So you'll see that. I will be using that. We'll have to save this, so it will be generated. The reference will be generated. And here's the source code belonging to that activity. I'm going to remove that. We're not going to need that. What we're going to need is the reference to the text view TV. And what we're going to need for the solution that I'm going to present to you is a timer. Update timer. No, update timer. Looks good. I'm doing Control-Shift-O, so to import those classes. There is the text view, and there's Java util.timer. So what we're doing on create is TV. We do want the reference to the text view. Text view, find view by ID, r.id.tv. See, that's the reference that I talked about. It's in the R file. r.id.tv. It's the reference to the text view. So, the magic we're trying to do is actually what's happening with this timer. Update timer. No timer. So, what we want to do is have this timer schedule our UI updates. And for that we need a timer task. Going to create this here, private class timer. No, not timer task. Timer task is what we're subclassing. Update task. You actually should use a capital. If we're going with the Java naming convention, extends the timer task. Yes. And we're importing that, Control-Shift-O, update task, add unimplemented methods. There it is. There's a run method. Because you might have guessed that from the appearance of the run method, timer task implements the runnable interface. So if you have a timer and you schedule a task, it will run in a new thread. And that's where most people have problems when they try to update the UI regularly. You do have the idea to make a thread, but it will crash at the very moment you're trying to access your UI elements from the separate thread. And that's why we're using a magical object called a handler. And in order to update our main activity, we'll have a reference to our main activity. So, how does the magic work? First, implementing the Android OS handler, obviously not the Java util logging, but the Android OS handler. Implement it. Well, import it, not implement it. Yes. In order for this task to get the reference to those two, we'll have to implement a constructor, which works this way. Public update task. Yes, and we want handler and main activity ref. That's what we want to have. No, that was the wrong. There it is. So what we do have to call is super, which calls the usual constructor for timer task, and then assigns the local variables. So this dot handler should be assigned the handler, obviously, and this dot ref should be assigned ref. So that does. And yeah, the magical object handler. First we create public void update. That should be void. Update doesn't need params. Well, it doesn't need params yet. Void update. Nothing happening there by now. So if I just go here and say update, this would do, because the update method doesn't have anything in it, so it wouldn't call any code, and especially it wouldn't call to the UI. So we would be allowed to do that in a separate thread. But as we want to call to the UI, we will have to post something to the main thread. That's where the handler comes in. We're using the handler, say handler.post runnable r, new runnable, there it is. And this is the piece of code that the handler will post to the main thread, and that's what we want to achieve. So everything I've got to do here is to use my reference and to have this piece of code called the update, and that's what we're doing. Oh well, this is missing. Yeah, okay, never mind that. That was the magic. That was the magic. So what should happen in update? In update we'll just say tv.set text. Oh, we'll have to add some kind of counter here in order to make the things happen that we want to make happen. Yes, and we have to pass that to string dot value of plus plus counter, so this gets incremented. Yeah, that's basically what's happening. And the only thing we're missing yet is the scheduling, because we've just created the timer with no update task. It has not appeared anywhere here, and we do need it, obviously. So we go in source, override implement methods. You don't want to do that in onCreate and onDestroy. If you do that in onCreate and onDestroy, there is the chance that this will still run although your activity isn't visible, and there's no point in that. Just removing the white spaces, they're bugging me, and there's to-dos. Alright, in onStart, we want update timer dot schedule, and this would schedule a timer task, and we're using instantiating a new update task, which will need an instance of a handler, and it's important that the handler is created on this thread. Yeah, that's what a handler does. It posts code to the thread it was created on. And as reference, we just do this. We don't need to delay, actually. What we're going to set a period of 1000 milliseconds. So this means this is executed every second, and the first time this is executed is right after the schedule call. And what we also want to do is to shut that down as soon as the activity is off the screen by cancel. Yeah, that's basically all the magic that we wanted to make happen. So let's try whether that works. I'll have to open up an AVD, I guess. Use this one, launch from snapshot. There's the AVD. Yeah, run as Android application. And this is where it should pop up into, but it might not. Oh, there it is. Yes, and that's incrementing. So that's what we wanted to achieve. That's what we achieved. So thanks for watching, and yeah, leave your comments if you wish.